Please, my daughter. At least let me stay in the boys' quarters until morning. Your son is across the Atlantic now. Nobody is here to protect you.
Please, I have nowhere to go.
His money belongs to me now, not a useless paralyzed burden. Sleep with the stray dogs tonight.
They say the tears of an innocent mother do not fall to the ground in vain. Lucy thought she had finally rid her house of a burden, the exact night her husband, James, boarded a plane to the UK. She did not know she had just signed her own spiritual death warrant. Mama James was not always paralyzed. Years ago, she was the strong woman who sold food in the market, raised her only son, James, alone, and used every coin she had to send him to school. When James became successful, he built a beautiful house and brought his mother to finally rest. But the wife he trusted was hiding a wicked heart. And what happened next will shake you to your soul. James was not a perfect man. But he was a good son. Every morning before work, he was the one who lifted Mama from her bed and settled her gently into her wheelchair. He was the one who made sure her food was warm, her room was clean, and her medicines were beside her cup of water every night. He did not do these things because someone told him to. He did them because she was his mother, the woman who had carried him, fed him, and fought for him when they had nothing. And Lucy knew exactly how to use that love against him. Whenever James was home, Lucy became a different person. She would sit beside Mama, laughing softly, combing the old woman's hair with gentle hands. She bathed her. She spoon-fed her in front of James with a warm smile. She even posted videos, taking care of my sweet Mama, and James would watch them overseas and feel his heart fill with peace. He trusted her completely. So when the overseas contract came, the one that could change everything, James did not hesitate for long. He sat Lucy down, took her hands, and placed the house keys between her palms. "This is everything I have saved," he said quietly. "And my mother is worth more than all of it. She is my gold, Lucy. Please, take care of her like she is your own." Lucy looked into his eyes and nodded. "She is safe with me. I promise." James kissed Mama's forehead, wiped his own tears, and walked out of the gate with his luggage. He did not know that promise was already dead before it was even spoken. The engine of James' plane had not even lifted above the clouds before Lucy's face changed. It happened that fast. The warm smile, gone. The gentle hands, gone. The soft voice she used whenever James was nearby, gone, like smoke when the wind comes. She stood at the window, watching the gate, and when she was sure his taxi had turned the corner and disappeared, she put down her cup and walked to Mama's room. No greeting. No food tray. No medicine. Nothing. That evening, Mama waited. Her stomach ached. Her mouth was dry. She called out twice, soft, careful calls, not wanting to cause trouble. No one came. The next morning, Lucy walked past her door without stopping. When Mama asked to be helped to the bathroom, Lucy looked at her the way you look at a wall. Figure it out yourself. That night, James called from the airport in London. His voice was full of excitement, the kind that only comes when a man believes his family is safe and his future is finally opening. "Baby, how is Mama? Is she okay?" Lucy leaned against the kitchen counter, her voice soft and perfect. "Yes, sweetheart. She just finished eating. She's sleeping peacefully right now." She was smiling when she said it. The moment she hung up, she walked straight to Mama's room, gripped the wheelchair, and dragged it, and the old woman in it, toward the front door. "You are a witch," she hissed. "You are the reason this man suffered. You will not spend one more night under my roof." She took Mama's phone. She locked the gate. And the rain came down like it was mourning something the living had not yet understood. There is no softer way to say it. Her hands pressed into the wet ground, one in front of the other, while the rain beat down on her back like it had no pity. She moved slowly toward the roadside, her wrapper soaked and heavy, her breath coming in small, broken pieces. People passed. Some slowed down, looked, and kept walking. One man crossed to the other side of the road. A woman pulled her child away. They saw a wet, shaking old woman on the ground and their minds told them, "Madwoman. Trouble. Not my business." Nobody stopped. Nobody, until Zara. Zara was 17 when her parents died and left her with nothing but a small kerosene stove and a pot. She had been cooking and selling food by the roadside ever since, carrying her tray every morning before the sun rose, going home every night with just enough to survive. She knew what it felt like to be invisible. So when she saw Mama James, she did not look away. She knelt right there in the rain. "Mama, who did this to you?" Mama looked up at her and wept. "Please, my daughter. Just take me away from here." Zara's one room was small. The ceiling had a patch of damp. The mattress was thin. But she washed Mama gently, warmed a bowl of soup, and covered her with the only good wrapper she owned. In the weeks that followed, something unexpected happened. Mama, who had once run a thriving market stall before her legs failed her, began to teach. She showed Zara how to balance pepper and crayfish in a way that made people stop walking and turn around. She taught her how to buy in bulk, reduce waste, price with profit, and build loyal customers one plate at a time. Within 1 year, Zara had moved from a roadside tray to a busy canteen with 4 girls working under her. She had not forgotten who taught her how to rise. James was not sleeping well in London. He was working 3 jobs, a warehouse in the mornings, a cleaning company in the afternoons, and a security post on weekends. His hands were rough. His back ached every night. But none of that pain bothered him as much as the silence on the other end of the phone when he tried to reach his mother. Lucy always had an answer ready. At first it was, "Mama is resting, she doesn't want to be disturbed." Then it became, "She's not feeling well today, let her sleep." Then one evening, Lucy's voice came through the phone cracked and trembling, soaked in false tears. "James. I don't know how to tell you this." She told him Mama had wandered into the streets. That the dementia had gotten worse. That she had searched everywhere, cried everywhere, begged neighbors and strangers. She said she had not slept in 3 days. James broke down completely. He wept the way a man weeps when the ground disappears beneath his feet. He transferred every coin of his savings, money meant for his return ticket, money meant for his future, and sent it to Lucy for private investigators and police reports that never existed. Lucy collected every transfer with a straight face. The money built a mansion registered in her own name. She bought a silver SUV for the man she was seeing behind James' back. She paid for parties where she laughed loudly in designer clothes, surrounded by people who knew exactly what she had done and said nothing. She posted none of it online. She was too smart for that. And James, exhausted and heartbroken in a cold country, kept working, kept sending, kept believing the woman who had already buried his trust without a funeral. James did not tell anyone he was coming home. After 2 years of broken sleep, empty savings, and a grief that had settled into his chest like a stone, he made a decision. No calls. No warnings. He bought a one-way ticket, packed 1 bag, and boarded the plane with one thought in his mind: find his mother. He landed in Lagos in the early evening and went straight to the house. He could hear the music before he reached the gate. The compound was full of people, young, loud, and dressed in clothes that cost more than James earned in a month abroad. Bottles covered every table. A brand new SUV was parked where his old car used to be. And in the middle of it all, laughing with her head thrown back, was Lucy, wrapped in a gold dress, slow dancing with a man who had his arm around her waist like he owned the place. James stood at his own gate and watched. He did not shout. He did not move. He just stood there while 2 years of lies rearranged themselves into a picture he could finally see clearly. It was his neighbor, Benson, who pulled him quietly to the side. The old man's hands were shaking. "James. I have carried this for 2 years. I cannot carry it anymore." His voice dropped low. "Your mother did not wander off. Lucy threw her into the rain the very night you traveled. I watched it happen. I was afraid, so I said nothing. But I have been following her from a distance. I know where she is. She is alive. James called the police before Benson finished speaking. They arrived within the hour. Lucy and her boyfriend were arrested in the middle of the party, glasses still in their hands. The guests scattered like smoke. The music stopped. And the house that had been filled with stolen laughter went completely silent. Benson led James through 2 streets and a narrow road he did not recognize. And then he stopped. Ahead, outside a clean, well-lit canteen with a hand-painted sign above the door, an old woman sat in a wheelchair near the entrance. She was laughing, a real laugh, full and warm, at something the young woman beside her had just said. Her wrapper was neat. Her face was rested. She looked like someone who had found peace after a long war. James could not move. His legs stopped working before his mind told them to. A sound came out of him that was not quite a word, something between a cry and a breath, and Mama turned her head. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then she opened her arms, and James crossed that distance in seconds, dropping to his knees in front of her wheelchair, pressing his face into her hands, weeping in a way he had not allowed himself to weep in 2 years. I'm sorry, Mama. I'm so sorry. She held his head gently. You came back. That is enough. Zara stood to the side, wiping her own eyes quietly. Justice moved quickly after that. James had kept every bank transfer record, every receipt, every message from 2 years abroad. The evidence was clean and clear. The police cross-referenced everything, the mansion, the land, the vehicles, all purchased with money James had sent for his mother's care. Lucy was charged with fraud and abandonment. The mansion was seized. The SUV was seized. Her lover was taken in for questioning and did not return home that night. When her family heard the full story, they did not come to support her. Her own mother sent back her calls unanswered. Lucy had built her empire on stolen suffering, and it had collapsed in a single evening, brick by brick, under the weight of her own choices. 6 months later, James got down on one knee in Zara's canteen, the same place he had found his mother laughing, the same place that had kept her alive, and asked Zara to spend her life with him. She said yes before he finished the sentence. They married quietly, with Mama sitting in the front row in a new dress, smiling the way only a mother can smile when she knows her child has finally found someone worthy. They traveled together, James, Zara, and Mama, to a specialist hospital in London. The doctors said the damage to her spine was not beyond help. It took months of treatment, therapy, and patience. But the morning Mama stood up from that wheelchair and took 3 steps across a hospital room floor, James and Zara held each other and wept without shame. Lucy was released from prison 14 months after her arrest. She returned to an empty house, no mansion, no car, no boyfriend, no designer bags. Her family had quietly closed their doors. Old friends no longer picked up her calls. She moved into a single room in a neighborhood where nobody knew her name. And after that, nobody heard from her again. Some endings are not dramatic. Some people simply disappear into the consequences of what they chose to do, and the world moves on without even noticing they are gone. What you sow in the dark will surely find you in the light. Lucy thought she locked out a helpless old woman that rainy night. But what she actually locked out was her own blessing, her own future, her own peace. Mama did not need revenge. Life handled it. Quietly, completely, and without missing a single detail. If you believe that karma never misses an address, type amen in the comments right now. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to see it today, and subscribe for more powerful stories that will shake your soul. See you in the next one.